Okay, so I just started um, introducing myself to tuning forks. So I have a harmonic spectrum set.
Okay.
I practiced on maybe 4 people. I actually took a class with Michelle, who's on this call as well. Hi, Michelle.
Ah,
Um, and so after that class, I just became so intrigued. It fascinated me that you could use tuning forks to do a body scan and actually
oh
hear
yeah.
the areas that needed tuning. And I was mind blown at that whole concept. And so I now, a week after class, have a massage table set up. I have a couple sets of tuning forks. And so I joined all the Facebook tuning fork groups. And in those groups, I saw your post. And at this point, I'm just so excited to digest as much content as possible.
Awesome.
So I'm so excited to meet you and just to kind of see what doors this class opens for me.
Great. Oh, well, that's great. Well, it's beautiful. You know, the more we are teachable, the more we're just an open open book, I guess. You know, then the more we can learn, and the more we can bring healing benefits to our clients. So it's a beautiful thing that, you know, if we remain teachable, then we can always up level. You know, I always believe in. One of my favorite questions is, what's the best choice? So if I'm guided by that and I keep on asking that, what's the best choice for myself, or the best choice of food, the best choice of frequency, the best choice of how to move a tuning fork through the field, you know, or the best choice of how to move my body to shift the energy for the client on the table right now, you know? So I love asking that question. So I'm really happy to have you join, and yeah, just to share my inspiration, because I love not only using tuning forks, but how can we embody the frequencies that we're working with? How can we then transmit that healing energy for our clients? And how does then that amplify the session for the client? So I'm going to share a little bit about that too, for those of you who are interested. And
Awesome. I'm
yeah,
excited.
yeah. So would you like to share then, as her teacher, Michelle? Is it Michelle?
Yes, it is. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like Summer said, we met last week at a weekend long workshop for tuning forks, and I'm not sure I could say it any better than Summer did. I just want to learn as much as I can, and explore how far this new direction takes me.
Great, great. Well, I truly believe that sound frequency is infinite, you know? As long as we're listening, as long as we're listening to our body and the client and our gut instincts, you know, there's no limit to, you know, it comes back to the energy of the question. Like, if I'm asking good questions, like, show me, like, let's be humble to that. Like, I don't know what I don't know. So if I'm open, you know, to asking a question, like, show me, guide me, then, you know, sound will be such a beautiful way shower for us. So excited to have you join. Great.
Thank you very much.
Yay. Rachel, how about you? What brings you to my door?
Yes. Well, let's see here. I think I started about almost a year ago. I took your tuning fork class on Udemy, and
Great.
as well as Ella Young's, and then on crystal bowls and Tibetan bowls.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also took a couple of courses with the Sound Healing Academy with tuning forks and Tibetan bowls. So I've been a massage therapist for over 20 years, and I've just been kind of in search of something kind of new, but still in the healing arts world. Something that'd be a little easier on my body too, but could still help others. And it's funny because I'm actually hearing impaired, but I'm like, I don't care. that's not gonna stop me from doing this. I'm really drawn to it.
Yeah.
And so I'm still kind of on a learning journey at this point, and I'd like to create my own business through this modality. And I just keep learning more and more as I go along. And I think I just joined the Facebook page that you have, and then been starting to get emails, and I'm like, oh, okay, what's this all about? So
Yay!
I'm excited.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, you know what?
Yes.
I started off life actually as a bodyworker too. I trained in bodywork since 91. And, you know, even though you might say being hearing impaired could seem like a disability, you know, or like being blind, obviously it's very different. But that means other senses of your body are really heightened. And for me, I'm very kinesthetic. Like, I'm not particularly a seer. Oh, we have another lady joining. Michelle, welcome. So, you know, even though we may feel that that is a disability, welcome, Michelle. Hello.
Hi, it's good to see you.
And you. Great to have you here. So we're just introducing ourselves, and then we will shortly get started. So I'm just responding to Rachel here. And she was talking about being a body worker, starting off as a body worker, and then incorporating tuning forks into what she does. You know, that felt sense, I think, is really important. You know, how you feel in your body, how you feel in the moment, and through feeling, like, I know for me, generally, I don't know how it is for you. Are you quite kinesthetic? Do you feel things in your body when you feel like the client's going through something?
Yeah. And then that's how I learned more easily as well. Yes.
Right. Great. And that's generally what alerts me to, I can feel there's a constriction in my heart right now, or I'm feeling a bit of a blockage in my throat. And then what I generally do is I ask my body, okay, body, how can I shift that in myself? And if it's my blockage and it's just the sound working on my blockage, that's okay. But if more often than not, the client's lying on the table, they're not going anywhere. And often they may not be proactive. They may have checked out. They may be deeply relaxed and just sleeping, you know. So it's up to me as a practitioner to shift the energy. So actually having that ability to feel is really, you know, where it's at. Well, when we embody, you know, which is why when I'm teaching, I recommend to all my students to not only be doing these modalities, but working on our own embodiment, you know, doing breath work, getting body work, doing body work, you know, closing our eyes and sensing and feeling is so important. I remember when I trained, you know, doing body work, the first thing I was taught, well, not the first thing, but my second teacher, she said, always close your eyes when you are doing, you know.
I when I was in massage school, I had my eyes closed almost all the time when I was working on people. Just feeling things and getting into that flow in that space. So and I really find that having done massage for so long just brings a different element with sound healing and how I approach people and just that sensitivity.
Absolutely. And you know, one of the other things that I'm really keen on is, I know that feeling if I have some body work and someone's moving their hands on the body and then they take their hands off and then they put their hands back on, and I'm like, oh, what happened there? Where are you going next? And oh, what's going on? Are you checking your phone or what? You know, and immediately takes you out of where you are, you know?
Yes.
And it breaks the energy of the relaxation. So as much as possible, obviously you've got, you know, to be moving forks around and navigating the client. But as much as possible, if we can have one hand, you know, in contact with the client, then the body doesn't go out of their state of relaxation or the space you've taken them into, then they can really have a deeper journey. So, So, Michelle, we would love to hear from you and know what brings you to this webinar and a little bit sharing about you. Have you been working with forks already? Oh, you're on your way.
Well, I have been working with forks for several years on what I wanted, and I actually purchased your program for the Zobet frequencies years ago.
Oh,
So it's like,
great.
yeah, it's a reunion of sorts.
Oh, how
So,
brilliant.
and I wanted to learn more about the 111. So
Awesome.
yeah, so I do
Okay,
that here, and just wanted to deepen my practice.
beautiful. Oh, great. Well, it's really great to have you here. And so, my apologies for not recognizing you. Well, I've never seen you. You know, so many of my students, I don't know what they look like. But welcome. It's beautiful to have you here.
Yes, no worries.
Great. All right, ladies.
Glad
Well,
to finally meet you. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Great. Well, just to give you a heads up, behind me, this is a virtual background. Obviously, I'm not sitting with a light behind me, but this is a cymatics image of 111 hertz. And it's from the work of, what's his name? I have to remind myself, actually. Cymaticgateway.com is the website. Anyway, and it's a beautiful depiction. And it's actually, his work shows 12 antinodes, there's 36, and that keys into the spiritual significance of 111, which I will cover on Sunday. But for those of you who are West Coast, or you're in New York, or California, then obviously that would be Saturday evening for you. All right, so let's get started. My desktop, keynote. Yeah. Okay, so 111 hertz masterclass, mental benefits. And I love this image in the beginning, because this is showing not only the brain, which of course is all about brain function, mental faculties, the ability to memorize things and all the functions of the brain, but it also includes Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man. And as you journey with me, you will learn that there is a lot of significance in Leonardo da Vinci's work. If you know anything about the different artists of our time and even the great architects, they usually work with the Fibonacci, the phi ratio, in their designs of buildings. Why would they do that? Well, our bodies are composed of the same phi ratio. So when you give that to the body, you are giving a harmony, you're giving a code, if you like. And if you step into a building which has been made by an architect, which is harmonized using those ratios, your body feels good. You feel relaxed, you feel grounded, you feel spacious, you feel, connected to the earth, because the Fibonacci phi ratio, these are ratios which are found in our bones, found in our facial proportions, and then right down to the DNA, we have this code. So there's a direct link between these frequencies, the frequencies of the solfeggio and the frequencies that the 111 hertz, and how that directly relates to the Fibonacci. So all will hopefully become clear as we journey together. So I trust that you're able to see. Are you able to see the full screen of this? Because on my computer it shows as, yeah? Okay, great. Because on my computer it shows me as the slide smaller, so it's a little bit confusing. So this is a presentation that I have given around the world for a long time, and I'm asking the question, why 111 hertz and why now? And for me, it feels super important to be looking at not only the present time modalities which already use it, but also the ancient world. And I have presented this first time was at the Archaeoacoustics Conference in 2015, which was at the Istanbul Technical University. And then I had the pleasure of also offering it at the SOAS University, which is a very reputed university in London. That's 2017. And then I put on my own International Sound Summit with the support of the Energy Medicine Exchange, and that was in 2019. And then I also shared a far smaller version of it at the World Parliament of Spirituality Summit as one of the Parliament members for the awakening of consciousness on the planet, which was a really beautiful project to be part of. So here we have, so you have the image behind. So it's Ben Jansen, and it's his copyright, obviously, somaticgateway.com. And I'm sure all of you ladies here are familiar with the quote, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Nikola Tesla, big fan of his. So for those of you who don't know me, a little bit of background on me. I'm obviously a sound healing practitioner. I've been doing that for 23 years now. But I started off life before that, right, from a little girl as a singer. I've been a health researcher since 91, since losing my stepfather to cancer and the 2 family dogs, and then subsequently losing 5 other family members to cancer. And it became a passion of mine to not only look at sound as a way of healing the body, but also to look at detox, to look at choice of food, to look at lifestyle, to look at EMFs, to look at grounding, to look at, what's the best choice? It's that same question. It's like, show me what I need to do for myself, and then I can guide others. I've been a workshop facilitator for many years. I started my first one, I think my first DVD was 2009, and I did that with Alternatives in London. And it was really about not simply receiving sound, but being proactive. Like if we think about sound is coming to our field and it's starting to move energy. But if we remain static, then what can really happen? There's a lot can happen. But if we're using the breath, if we're using movement, and if we're using our own sound, voice, then we can deepen the process, which is why my work has expanded beyond tuning forks. And you can see here in the image, I've got these chimes. These are solfeggio frequencies, 396, 528, 396, amazing for grounding the body, amazing for clearing out negative emotions, amazing as a purifier, and 528 for the heart. So when we clear out the old fear vibration, the old paradigm, the old conditioning, then we can reclaim or deepen our connection to the heart and feel more in a place of love in ourselves, and therefore love others, and therefore we can achieve a beautiful awakening and coming back to a deeper connection with ourselves, and therefore we can create peace on the planet. So I've really gone into different areas in order to show me that, show me this, what are the pieces, let me learn all of those. So that's very much been poured into my workshop work. And also I'm passionate about having trained in breathwork. So I trained in rebirthing in the early 90s, and then I went on to do Kriyas with Sri Ravi Shankar. That's Kriya Yoga. I've done a lot of Kundalini Yoga. And then more recently, I've worked with Giten Tomkov biodynamic trauma release, because we have 7 belts of tension in the body. And that's I think that's probably the deepest breath work that we can do. And as a practitioner, if you are interested in deepening your practice, this is something I wholeheartedly recommend, whether it's doing Kundalini Yoga or rebirthing or biodynamic trauma release, getting at least 10 sessions, getting more in your body. That really helps, because it tunes you into your ability to tune in with yourself and the client, and then you can support them in deeper ways, and of course support yourself on your healing journey as much as we're guiding clients. Obviously, I've been a speaker. I've spoken at countless community events, conferences, festivals. I've trained at the Globe Sound and Consciousness Institute. That was in 2007. And I've trained in tuning forks with the Institute of Cyberkinetics in the UK. And I've then become a teacher at the Globe. And obviously, I've also talked at the conference as well, sharing my inspiration. And I've been an author. I've created 11 online courses. I've created a couple of ebooks, one for treating fleas, which is amazing when we apply sound to that. as an issue, then we no longer need to have, invasive chemical treatments or flea collars or, flea sprays or any kind of extermination companies in your home or that kind of thing. An ebook on solfeggio, and also working with the voice, not only as a coach to teach people how to sing, but not singing from here, singing from the whole body. Like, how do we do that? Then we are singing from our whole being. We're not singing from the mind or the throat. We are vibrating all the strings of our guitar, as it were. And I have been a DJ, musician, and music producer mentor, guiding DJs, musicians, and music producers to deepen what they offer in the public arena, because you can simply add 111 hertz to a DJ set and the dance floor goes off. So I love sparking that thought in different people's minds to consider working with sound healing in those kind of spaces, because otherwise, if you look at 440 hertz tuning and how it affects the body, it's not super great. It's very limited in its capacity to heal. And obviously, being a mentor to anyone who wants to deepen their practice with sound healing, custom designing it. So if what you see on my website isn't quite what you're looking for, but maybe you already been working with tuning forks and you just want to go to the mastery level, then I can also custom design sessions for you. And so I have a history of starting as a jazz singer. I trained in opera. I've done pretty much every musical genre, and it all left me a little bit kind of not really feeling it. I didn't like the ego. I didn't like the industry. And so it took me on a journey of where I left London. That was when I trained in rebirthing. I basically went on my own healing journey. And since then, I've just been on a huge journey of discovery. And I discovered sound probably I already started, this was what was interesting for me. I started channeling. I started having this weird language coming through my body. And it was a little bit disconcerting. And then I found out that I'm actually channeling. I didn't even know what that word was. And I found through the Mayan oracle, if anyone knows that. Yeah, I was finding out about that. And from that, I then started hearing about sound healing. And I moved to America. Yeah, I had this email show up in my inbox about sound healing. And I went along to the workshop, and I'd been recording an album in Australia. And I had been shown in a dream, actually, while recording, that sound is one of the most profound catalysts we can use at this time on the planet. And not only using frequency like tuning forks, but also using the voice. Because then what happens? We are listening to the frequency outside, the body's absorbing it to a certain extent. But if we then use the voice, now we are starting to vibrate more deeply inside the body. And then with conscious intention, we can then guide that sound into the body and guide it where it's needed. Sound is amazingly intelligent, so it will always go where it's needed. But with your capacity to be proactive, then you can go so much deeper. And using breath, using movement, asking the body, does it want to shift? Then so much transformation can happen. I'd been asking for a year. Before I received this dream, I was asking universe, okay, if sound healing's a thing, I kind of got the idea. Is there a series of sounds we can give to the body, or is there one sound? And when I received this dream, I was recording this album. And this dream basically showed me the awakening of humanity. And it showed me that it's through the power of the voice. And in fact, through the power of the solfeggio, I was shown that it was all about Ra. And this is another way of describing Ra maths, Fibonacci, phi ratio. This is the codes of the pyramids. It's the codes of the body. It's the codes of nature. And if we convert that into sound and give it back to the body, we then provide it with a deprogramming tool, a reset. It's like rebooting our computer. So I had that dream, and I went back to the States. And when I went to this workshop, I'd been asking the universe, show me show me the frequencies. Is it one sound or a whole bunch of sounds? Show me. And I had this dream all about Ra, and I'm like, Ra, okay, Ra, Egyptian sun god. That was all I kind of knew. And within 2 weeks of returning, I had this sphere of light appear at my feet with a line going through it, and didn't know what that was. I'm at the sound healing workshop with Randy Masters, actually, who has since become my mentor, and he's talking about mathematics, and I'm a bit confused. I'm like, I'm here for sound healing. Why are you talking about maths? But he was all about converting maths into sound, and he talks about the phi ratio, which is drawn one of two ways. It's either a circle with a line down vertically, which is the toroidal field of the body, or it's a circle with a line at a diagonal. And that's what appeared in light at my feet a week before. And I'm like, oh, so what is that? And he said, oh, it's Ra maths. And I'm suddenly like, oh my goodness, this is the dream I received. I said, okay, so, and I've been asking this question to the universe, show me, is there one sound? Is there a series of sounds? Show me, what is that? And I will do that for my life. I'll be in service to that. And then he just calmly, he had no clue about my year-long quest of asking this question. And he said, oh yeah, it's these 18 frequencies. And he had casually turned to this set of 18 tuning forks on the table, which are the Zobet forks. And to give a little bit background with him, he actually, I don't know how many of you here know the book Healing Codes for the Biological Apocalypse, which came out in the late 90s, which was the beginning book on the solfeggio. Any of you know that here? No? Okay. All right. Well, that book came out, and when it came out, Randy has been working with the maths of the pyramids for many years, and he had been working with different people regarding that. And he basically contacted Dr. Joseph Palaio and said, thank you so much for the book, but you're missing the other codes. So he flew up to where he was living in the States, spent 5 days with him, and he brought through the others. So that was 97, 98. In 2002, Judy Lynn Cole also received a download of these codes, interestingly, with a couple of friends. And they were all hanging out together, and Judy says to her two friends, are you getting some numbers in your head? Or one of them said to her, oh, I'm getting all these numbers. So they said, oh yeah. So they all sat in separate rooms. They wrote down the numbers separately, and then they came back to compare notes. It was all the same set of frequencies. So these are codes. And if you start to look at these solfeggio, how many of you here have got solfeggio forks? I know Michelle obviously has. Yep. Summer, you've got the harmonic spectrum. And Michelle, do you have solfeggio forks? The other Michelle?
No, I also have the harmonic.
Okay. And Rachel, do you have solfeggio?
I do not yet. No.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, if we start to look at that, and we look at, if you go online, you look for solfeggio, you will find, frequencies like 417 and 528. If you take the 417 from the 528, what are you left with? You're left with 111. And then the next pair up would be 471 and 582. This is the Zobet spectrum, the full 18, and the difference tone is 111. And then the next one's up, you have 528, 639, 582, 693, 714, 825, 741, 852. So they all have this unique 111 hertz. So that then becomes super interesting. And if we we can go deeper with that, and we can look at other difference tones. Some might call it binaural, but it's not technically a binaural beat. It's a dichotic tone or difference tone. But that's the difference between two tuning forks. There are also other difference tones between 147 and 174. There's 27. And I think, 417 and 471. The difference between those two frequencies is 54. So now we're looking at 2754. You double that, you get 108. Double that again, you get 216. You double that again, you get 432. So this is where 432 hertz musical tuning relates to solfeggio. And 108, this is the 108 names of God, the 108 beads in the mala. These are codes, and you have 54 jaguar heads at Machu Picchu and 154 statues at Angkor Wat in Cambodia. So these codes are present in the ancient world, and this is where those two connect. So I've really stepped out of my box of just learning sound and started to think about maths. And it's kind of ironic because I didn't really like maths at school. I was really good at it, but it wasn't one of my favorite subjects. But because of Randy and that pivotal moment in time when I met him in 2001, that switched me on and started me thinking about maths, because maths is actually everything. Sacred geometry is everything. And it keys into the cellular structure, it keys into atomic structure, and it keys into the fabric of the universe. So when we think about that, we can think in a broader way of not just, 6 solfeggio codes that we might have found on a website somewhere. And what I find online is a lot of websites are doing copy paste. They're just sharing those 6 frequencies and they're copying what someone else has shared, but they're not actually giving any depth. And this is what I've really devoted my life to, because once you start going into the detail, wow, it just opens up a lot. So let's start over. For some of you, I don't know if you researched online, but there is a clear campaign to discredit solfeggio. I've been trolled massively quite a few times with this information, and it clearly seems to be an attempt to distract people and move people away from these frequencies. So this is a DVD I put out, and this was in fact the presentation that I gave at the Globe in 2014 about exploding the myths, because there are some myths about the frequencies too. And yet let's dive into the detail, because that's where the magic is. So I am really passionate about substantiating with the science, because I've gone deep down the rabbit hole. So I will substantiate as I go, and you'll learn a lot. And if you want to get that DVD, it's in my shop under DVDs as a download.